God's name with the wrong alphabet blocks.
Sister?
I think it's me they're calling. They call me sister, sister.
Catherine, dear! Catherine! Well, well. Doesn't she look fine, George?
Uh-huh. Send you to the beauty parlor whenever you're going to have a family visit. Other times you look awful. You can't have a compact or lipstick or anything made out of metal because they're afraid you'll swallow it.
I think she looks just splendid, don't you, George?
Can't we talk to her without the nun for a minute?
Yes, I'm sure it's all right too, sister.
Excuse me. Sister Felicity, this is my mother, Mrs. Holly, and my brother George.
How do you do?
How do you do?
This is Sister Felicity.
We're so happy Catherine's at St. Mary's. So grateful for all you're doing for her.
We do the best we can for her, Mrs.
I'm
Holly.
sure you do. Yes. Well, I wonder if you would mind if we have a little private chat with our Kathy?
I'm not supposed to let her out of my sight.
It's just for a minute. You could sit in the hall or in the garden, and we'd call you right back here the minute the private part of the talk is over.
Jesus, what are you up to? Huh? Sister? Are you trying to ruin us?
George, will you be quiet? You're upsetting your sister.
How elegant George looks.
George inherited Cousin Sebastian's wardrobe, but everything else is in probate. Did you know that? That everything else is in probate, and Violet can keep it in probate just as long as she wants to.
Where is that, Violet?
George, come back here. Violet's on her way down.
Yeah, and Violet has an elevator now.
Yes, she has. She's had an elevator installed where the back stairs were. And sister, it's just the cutest little thing you ever did see. It's paneled in Chinese lacquer, black and gold Chinese lacquer, with lovely bird pictures on it. But there's only room for 2 people at a time in it. George and I came down on foot. I think she's having her frozen daiquiri now. She still has a frozen daiquiri promptly at 5 o'clock every afternoon in the world. In warm weather. Sister, the horrible death of Sebastian just about killed her. She's now slightly better, but it's a question of time. Dear, you know, I'm sure you understand why we haven't been out to see you at St. Mary's. They said you were too disturbed and a family visit might disturb you more. But I want you to know that nobody, absolutely nobody in the city knows a thing about what you've been through, have they, George? Not a thing. Not a soul even knows that you've come back from Europe. When people inquire, when they question us about you, we just tell them that you stayed abroad to study something or other. Now, sister, I want you to please be very careful what you say to your Aunt Violet about what happened to Sebastian and Cabeza de Lobo.
What do you want me to say
Just
about
don't
what...
repeat that same fantastic story. For my sake and George's sake, the sake of your brother and mother, don't repeat that horrible story again, not to Violet, will you?
Then I am going to have to tell Aunt Violet what happened to her son in Cabeza de Lobo?
Honey, that's why you're here. She has insisted on hearing it straight from you.
You were the only witness to it, Kathy.
No, there were others that ran.
Oh, sister, you just had a little sort of a nightmare about it. Now listen to me, will you, sister? Sebastian has left, has bequeathed to you and to George in his will.
To each of us. 50 grand each. After taxes. Get it?
Oh, yes. But if they give me an injection, I won't have any choice but to tell exactly what happened to Cabeza de Lobo last summer. Don't you see? I won't have any choice but to tell the truth. It makes you tell the truth because it shuts something off that might make you able not to. And everything comes out, decent or not decent. And you have no control, but always, always the truth.
Catherine, darling, I don't know the full story. not too sick in your head to know in your heart that the story you tell
Kathy,
is just
Kathy.
true.
You've got to forget that story, can't you? For your 50 grand?
Because Beck Vi contests the will, and we know she'll contest it. She'll keep it in the courts forever.
It's in probate now. And it'll never get out of probate until you drop that story. We can't afford to hire lawyers good enough to contest it. So if you don't stop telling that crazy story, we won't have a pot to cook greens in.
Don't laugh like that. I'm scared me.
Kathy, the money is all tied up. If Aunt Vi decided to contest Sebastian's will, that leaves us all this cash. Am I coming through to you?
Yes, little brother, you are.
You see, Mama? She's crazy like a coyote. We won't get a single damn penny. Honest to God, we won't. So you've just got to stop telling that story about what you say happened to Cousin Sebastian and Cabeza de Lobo. Even if it's what, it couldn't be true. You've got to drop it, sister. You can't tell such a story to civilized people in a civilized, up-to-date country.
Kathy, why did you invent such a tale?
But Mother, I didn't invent it. I know it's a hideous story, but it's a true story of our time and the world we live in, and what did truly happen to Cousin Sebastian and Cabeza de Lobo.
Then you are going to tell it. Mama, she is going to tell it. Right to Aunt Vi and lose us our 100,000. Kathy, you're a bitch!
George!
I repeat it, a bitch. She isn't crazy, Mama. She's no more crazy than I am. She's just perverse. Was always perverse.
George! Apologize to sister! This is no way for you to talk to your sister. You come right back over here and tell your sweet little sister you're sorry you spoke like that to her.
I'm sorry, Kathy. But you know we need that money. Mama and me, Kathy, I got ambitions. And Kathy, I'm young. I want things. I need them, Kathy. So will you please think about me, us?
Mrs. Holly? Mrs. Holly?
Somebody's calling for me. Catherine, George put it very badly, but you know it's true. We do have to get what Sebastian left us in his will, dearest. And you won't let us down. Promise, you won't let us down.
Here comes Aunt Vi. Mama, Kathy, and Violet. Here's Aunt Vi.